X Nordics is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not quite sure where on that list it falls, and I wouldn't say it beats out Ys 8, but I still adore this game. I love the story, the characters, the combat, the dungeons, the bosses, the final boss fight especially, and so much about this game. But there are some things very different about it from other games in the series, as Ys 10 was when the game had completely overhauled its combat system, doing away with the triple party combat system the games had been going with for 15 years, instead opting for a new take where you only had two party members, Adel and Karja, and with their own individual powers, just like the games of the past, but a major mechanic being about the two of them linking up to attack and guard against enemies together, which leads to one of my favorite combat systems in any video game. But even this game isn't perfect, as Ys 10 decides to scale things down, as all of its bosses were more or less in your weight class, or relatively close to it. And given that the one exception to that rule is the Magna Diga, it's not too hard to see why, because this fight is straight up horseshit.
Seems like this one's gonna be a real pain to deal with. Fine by me. Getting stranded here had me looking for a good way to let off some steam.
So, like all these videos, I guess we should begin with what leads up to this point, and to clarify, this video is mostly going to be from the perspective of fighting the boss on Nightmare or Inferno mode, because you could otherwise just keep lowering the difficulty to simply overpower the boss, but we're going to assume that you're going for the achievement, and also, this isn't so much a worse difficulty spikes as it is me complaining about a really shitty boss fight in an otherwise great game. Anyways, the Magna Diga is fought in Chapter 3, so up to this point we've had a couple of boss fights. The first was the Armed Biter, which was a slightly tricky tutorial battle that could trip up new players due to surprising aggression and also the game's different combat style. After that, we fought the Zeomander, who mostly exists to make sure you've gotten used to utilizing mana bursts, with Adel needing to use fire to clear the brambles and Karja needing to use ice to raise both of them above the water line to not get shocked. Then to cap off Chapter 2, there's EG, who will probably be the toughest fight up to this point, but he's very susceptible to getting staggered by burst attacks, and if you're able to parry him, he's not going to be too hard.
Just one last push. Let's do it, Adel. Right.
Then there's Joel, who exists entirely to make sure that you know how to parry by this point in the game. And finally, we come face to face with Odor Kalborn, who will kick your ass 6 ways to Sunday, and probably would be the subject of this video if you were required to beat him, but really he's just here to kick your ass. And after that we get shipwrecked and end up on Termina Island, our third dungeon, and the first one to take place in a more outside setting, leading to a larger variety of environmental interactions, but we still have a stormy, crappy weather overhead the whole time. But it's also where we unlock fishing, making this the greatest level ever. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, as we see this totally not suspicious looking sandpit.
Fine by me. Getting stranded here had me looking for a good way to let off some steam.
The Magna Diga is the worst boss in the game, and one reason why is that he has an absurdly large health bar of nearly 40,000. That's more than basically every boss up to this point in the game combined, not counting Kalborn at least. And the boss does 3 things in particular: giving you the suck, shooting out wreckage, which leads to the only special counter in the fight, and slamming its body back and forth. None of these seem too bad, but his slam has some really awkward times, so if you're not careful you'll get hit at the weird moments and probably die, and the wreckage he shoots out leaves dangerous aura that can start building up the slow status effect. How wonderful. And when he goes for the suck, all that wreckage starts to get dragged in, and if you get too close, he'll bite you, which will ultimately lead to you getting instantly killed. It is an extremely dangerous attack, especially for this early in the game. But Phase 1 isn't too horribly bad. It's Phase 2 that's the problem, as dropping below half health will lead to more of his body emerging from the sand, dropping massive debris and swinging around the arena, as well as trying to fall directly on top of you and spew out even more debris. Now, there is a point where the fight actually threatens to be kind of fun, as he does this little multiple bite combo that looks really awesome to parry, but there's one ever so slight problem in that you might have noticed. Even after you fully parry everything, he just brings his head back, so there's no real incentive to do it other than survival, and by the way, getting inflicted with slow alters your parry timing, so try not to get tripped up by the wreckage. But the truly egregious thing in this fight is when he's in motion and his body becomes a hitbox. And why is this so awful? Because I can parry him falling on top of me, but if I don't parry him wiggling his body right afterwards, I take full damage, and in Nightmare mode that more or less means you instantly die. Who at Falcom didn't see this as a problem? Well, actually, they kinda did, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. Thankfully, there is a clear strategy to beat this boss. With cheese, of course. Now, actually preparing for this boss is honestly quite easy. You don't need to do any grinding or side objectives. All you need to do is give your best gear to Adel and Karja that you've got, maybe give them Falling Edge and Boomerang Axe for a little bit of insurance, and make sure you learn the cross/team attack, which is pretty much guaranteed by this point in the game, so just check your release grid if you haven't already done so for some reason, to make sure that it's officially unlocked so you can put it on your team skills. So this is how we're going to kill this boss, and if you saw the video I made on this guy years ago, you already know what to do, but realistically, you probably haven't. So here we go. Step 1, keep your distance and move around until he goes for his blue debris attack to trigger your special counter. This will do about 4,000 damage, which isn't mandatory, but taking off about 10% of the boss's HP is always a nice boost. Step 2 is very simple. Simply stay alive and wait for him to start doing his suction attack. Step 3 is to keep a very close eye on his mouth. When his inner teeth start to close and his outer mandibles start to expand, that means he's going for his bite. You can parry this attack and it will give you a fusion stack of 1.7 times as a multiplier. From here, you simply get into a rhythm of parrying him and using cross/slash over and over again, because his AI is now trapped in a loop where he will keep attempting to suck you up until he goes long enough without doing his biting attack, which we can now use those 5 seconds he's emerged to really just chip away at his health and take him down bit by bit to absolutely, destroy him. It's going to take about 5 minutes, but you can easily get into a rhythm and make this otherwise nightmarish fight a comedically light breeze to take down. Now, normally this is where I do some sort of semi-self-reflective outro, but I already know there's going to be some comments saying, this fight wasn't that bad, or you just need to do blah, like I didn't make the guide on how to cheese his ass in the first place. But no, this fight is objectively shit and I have undeniable proof of it. You see, Ys 10 got an enhanced edition that, depending on when you're watching this video, is either coming out this Friday, or more than likely has long since launched on February 20th of 2026. The game adds a ton of new content, as well as an awesome New Game Plus mode, but also tweaks a lot of the old content, either overhauling dungeons, giving bosses new attacks, or modifying stats to make the bosses far better balanced than before. But with Magna Diga, they decided to throw the old fight in the trash and completely remade it. Magna Diga now has 2 far more distinct phases than before, as well as taking 99% reduced damage on the body, but like 5 times the damage on the head. On top of that, his first phase now sees him moving around the arena, focusing more on projectiles and some poison attacks, as you make use of your hoverboard to get over to him quickly and also dodge his attacks. He also has a new special counter you can perform against him in Phase 1. Phase 2 threatens to be a super bad, no good, very awful, horrible time, as the fight looks like it's going to be the original fight, but this is a lie. Instead of the super suck, he creates a massive pit of quicksand before making you use your hoverboard to outrun his lumbering body, which, while the board was in Ys 10, it lacked a boost option, making it basically worthless outside of crossing water, so it's cool getting to see it get some actual applications. His old counter will also return for Phase 2, and this fight is basically going to swap between 2 different modes, as he swaps to either his far away mode or an up close mode where he brings down a bunch of wreckage to box you in, but with the big difference being that now his head will stay still long enough for you to actually score some good damage against him. And Phase 2 will swap back and forth between these 2 modes. Now, it's nothing mind-blowing, it's not like this fight's suddenly a 10 out of 10 or anything, but there's some creative uses for your different tools in the hoverboard, so I'd say this battle is leaps and bounds better than the travesty of the original fight, and it stands out as he's the only boss that was basically scrapped and remade for the enhanced edition, while other ones they more or less just tweaked to improve some things. It's a weird note, but it's kind of nice getting to end one of these videos on a positive instead of a negative.
Done and dusted. Adel, up top. Starting to get used to working with you.
And that's all I've got for this video. Not as long as some of them, but I don't really think it needs to be because there's not some deep-seated hatred I have towards Magna Diga. The problems were all too simple, of bad hitboxes and no downtime to really retaliate unless going for cheese. It's also one of the only times I've actively seen a developer say, "We're sorry," and completely remade the fight more or less from the ground up. And I think it worked out well. It's kind of a weird but nice note to end things on. Either way, that's all I've got for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you're a fan of these games, then subscribe, because I'm about to be shilling the ever-loving crap out of the series for a while. Oh lord. Yeah, I've gotten back into a Ys mood, so to speak. I've been replaying Origins, and I'm going to be replaying through Nordics again when the Enhanced Edition comes out in English. So, yeah. Look forward to that, and also more games to come. Until then, take care, everyone, and I'll see you when I see you in whatever video comes next. I don't really have a funny joke to end this one on, so...
Good atmosphere.